What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Cervantes podcast. Joining me today for a discussion on why Black representation matters in film and television is actor Ahmad DeChalus. How are you, bro? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, bro. I'm doing very well. I'm blessed. It's been a very great year. So I know it hasn't been for some, but for me, it's been very productive, and I've made the best out of it.
Glad to hear it. Thank you for joining me. So, growing up, what kind of television shows and movies did you watch?
I watched. I was so versatile as a kid when it came to genres. Like I watched fantasy, I watched sci-fi, I watched like hood dramas. Like Juice
Nice,
and things
That's a
along that
choice.
nature. And I watched a lot of movies I probably shouldn't have seen, like Scarface, like things I was too young to watch, or Scorsese films and shit like that.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Very like diverse taste in terms of like cinema.
Yeah. I was a super like nerdy kid. Like I still am. I love all that, all this stuff. Like action doesn't matter. Like
That's
if
really
I like
cool.
it, I like it. It doesn't really matter what genre it is to me.
Right. I like that. If it's good TV, I'm gonna watch. Facts.
Right. That's a
As you
fact.
were watching those TV shows and movies, did you feel accurately represented?
I mean, it's that's a tricky question because I would watch, I would watch the hood dramas, and while that could resonate to some people, it didn't resonate to me fully. Like I would get some aspects because I didn't grow up. I grew up in New Rochelle, New York, if you know where that is.
Same. Mm-hmm.
And I didn't grow up in a bad neighborhood, so I couldn't always relate to, the hood movies, and I couldn't always relate to Black people as they were portrayed at that time when we were growing up, because that's all you would really see. Like early 2000s, you see like the gangster movies, and like you wouldn't
Right.
see much else. You would have to really dig deep. So I feel like me personally, I'm a different type of soul, so nothing really resonates with me, but I still enjoy it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Okay. Like the things that we're being put in front of you, it's like, yes, we're both black, but I'm not going through that experience.
Right,
So it's
right.
kind of hard for me to relate. Yeah, that's true. I grew
Exactly.
up in New Rochelle too.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I went to New Rochelle
Oh
High
shit.
School for like a year, and then I transferred to Iona Prep. But
Oh,
yeah, like
lit.
sometimes I felt like I said in another episode, I felt like I wasn't really black because I didn't act like the guys that we always saw, like the people we always saw. And I
Right.
sometimes would like try to act stereotypically, one way. And that kind of hurt me because people can tell if you're being fake.
That's the
So,
fact. That's the
you
fact.
know, so
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
felt that.
100% agree with you. Like that's how I was feeling too. Like
According to a March 2021 article from Deadline by Dino Ray Ramos, the author reported that looking at positions of creative control, the research shows that less than 6% of Hollywood films, writers, directors, and producers are Black. Why is it important for there to be Black people both in front of and behind the camera?
I mean, as we all know, like when the film industry in the US was founded, it was not meant for anybody who wasn't white. You know what I mean? Like they had grounded it. It started as a very racist industry, and there's still a lot of change that has to be done. A little stuff like that's the world we live in right now. But I think it's super important that not even just Black people, just more ethnic groups, just diversify the film industry as a whole. We want more people in there because there's more culture, there's more point of views, different
Right,
minds coming together. Because it's when you're on a set, there's so many positions that need to be filled. The wheel's always turning, and it's like
right,
everybody, different minds create a new perspective. And I think for the art, that's definitely crucial.
right. And I think we're a lot of times we only get one perspective, which
Right.
is typically a white man's perspective because they're
Exactly.
always making movies. There's the directing and like editing. And I
Right.
think if you're gonna make a black story, there's got to be people that look like me and you in the
Exactly.
writer's room and filming and being casted.
Right.
So yeah,
I remember watching an interview with Denzel Washington, and he said something that perfectly resonated with what we're talking about. He basically said, like, say Spike Lee basically makes movies that resonate around Black culture. He said Martin Scorsese could have made those same movies, but it wouldn't have been, and they could have been as good, but it wouldn't be the same impact because Spike Lee has that perspective and he knows about the culture. You know what I mean? So it's like
yeah,
we need
and like
that
the
kind of knowledge in there.
nuances, the
Yeah,
language, the lingo. Yeah,
right,
I
right.
agree. Twitter user and activist April Rain first tweeted Oscars so white, hashtag Oscars so white, they asked to touch my hair. On January 15, 2015, in an immediate response to the all 20 acting nominations for the year's upcoming Academy Awards being given to white actors. The Academy Awards have been around since 1929, yet so far, only 32 Oscars have been awarded to actors of color. When you look at the 2020 Academy Awards, only one black actor was nominated, which was Cynthia Erivo for her role in the film Harriet. So I wanted to ask you, do these white award shows really matter? Should we as a community just focus on the BET Awards, NAACP Image Awards, and just other black award shows in general?
I mean, I think that, you know, these award shows, they're all very superficial anyway, you know, like we all know there's people, like if you even look at just underground like short films, there's so many people who are doing such great work, and just because they don't get nominated for an award show, that doesn't mean that, you know, their work wasn't fruitful or it wasn't good. So, you know, I've kind
Right.
of been 50-50 with award shows. Like I'm kind of biased with it. If my favorite actor's in the award show, I want to watch it, but it's not like, you know, I'm
Yeah.
not like I don't go too hard with award shows. Like, but like
Okay.
you said, the fact that she won a role for a movie in Harriet, that's kind of like we got to do better. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's yeah, it shouldn't be like that. Like, why can't we have regular, regular stories that don't have to do with slavery or don't have to do with
Right, right,
I don't know. Yeah, slavery or like police brutality. Like I really wish
right,
Black
right.
Panther won an Oscar back in like I think
It should
2018.
have.
So yeah, I think it's a good thing that we do have black spaces that will recognize us, that will give us our flowers when we're
Right,
here. Because we shouldn't just look at the Oscars as like, oh, like you're a great actor if you won, because a lot of people that we all know that are exceptional have never won, like Angela Bassett.
right.
um
Exactly.
Trying to think. Yeah, so there's a ton of people. So yeah. Say, in Hollywood, there was and probably still is a false belief that black films don't sell overseas. However, one example of this myth being disproved was Marvel's Black Panther, directed by Ryan Coogler, which grossed over $700 million in the United States and over $1 billion worldwide. When asked about this myth, actress Octavia Spencer said they have to start investing in taking black actresses and actors across the world, just like they do with unknown white actors. Do you agree with Octavia?
I do agree with that, because you know you could take the Hollywood. We're always getting, you know, an actor from England, you know, a white actor from England or like some other country who, and they
Right.
do the job. Don't get me wrong, like they're exceptional, but it's like they
Right.
can do the same with other, like Daniel Kaluuya. I
Right.
mean, but he's exceptional, not from America, and he's exceptional. That's one example that I think is a great example, and he just won, so he won an award, so he's doing his thing, and he's one of those kind of role models for me as an actor who I wanna. He's so versatile too, like.
Yeah.
But I
I
definitely
agree.
think that like it's deeper than just film in general. It's just like racism and hate that's just deep rooted in so many countries. You know, that's still prevalent today and still present even in like these mediums and these industries and things.
Yeah. And I think they're willing, yeah, like you said, they're much more willing to take a risk on a white actor from a different country than the black actors that are here in the United States. And that's
Right.
just that doesn't make sense. Like,
Right. Right. I
and I
agree.
think also, I think they're afraid that, oh, like if we put a big budget on a black movie, it's not going to do well. Well, that's ludicrous
Right.
because a lot of
Of
black films
course.
have done very well. They love us
Hell yeah.
in a lot of other countries. So yeah, and Black Panther
Right.
was one
Right.
movie and Black Panther was one movie that disproved that. It's like one of the, I think, Endgame aside, it's like the highest grossed Marvel film. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah, that movie really like it did a lot. I feel like for the black culture, because that's one movie like we were talking about. It wasn't a hood or a gangster movie. It wasn't like a civil rights movie or slave movie. It was
Right.
a
Just a
full ass
superhero.
black superhero movie. Like, you know, like it
Right.
wasn't no
Right.
extra shit.
Right. And it's like,
It
yeah.
did well for what it was.
Right. And I think we've had black superheroes before. But I
Right.
think that was the first one that was like done on like a really global scale with like a
Yeah,
big budget
bro.
behind. So
Exactly. Because I remember when Black Panther dropped in like Civil War, bro. Like everybody was going crazy. Like,
right, I was hype, and
yeah,
it wasn't
I
even
was
his own
hyped.
movie. It was just hit like a character.
Right.
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 There seemed to have been a black renaissance on screen in the 1990s and early 2000s with a plethora of black movies and television shows with predominantly black casts such as Living Single, Poetic Justice,
Mhm.
Martin, Juice, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I could
Right.
go on and on. I
Right.
wanted to ask you, do you believe we will ever see that again?
We we could see it again, but I feel like that's already been done. You know,
Okay.
it's that's kind of been oversaturated. I feel even that juice genre.
Okay.
If it is done again, like we kind of have it now with like Snowfall, with like shows like Power, Snowfall, we're still getting that,
Right.
in modernized times. So I mean, we'll probably still keep getting it, but like I said, there's so much more they can do. Like
Right. I think now I agree with that. I think now it's a lot of like black actors being sprinkled around, but like
right,
in terms of the black renaissance, like black movie, like back and back and back,
right,
we're not really getting that. We're not really getting. I think like Black Panther, Queen and Slim, Malcolm and
exactly.
Marie, like there's some stuff, but it's
Hmm.
not like 10, 20 black movies and television shows
Yeah,
on air right now. Um,
right.
so yeah. Actor Michael B. Jordan has famously said that he wants to play roles that are written for white men. Basically, him trying to say that he doesn't want to be pigeonholed in only playing stereotypically black male roles.
There's always a bias somewhere. It's human
Right.
nature, right? So even with
Right.
writers, there's not a lot of successful black writers that are writing,
Right.
like for the big movies and
Right.
at the time,
Yeah.
it wasn't really that. There wasn't enough material out
Yeah,
there being
yeah.
written for us that wasn't very stereotypical.
Right.
I've been blessed in my career to play some stereotypical characters that lasted the test of time, that just was bigger than that box that they tried to put
Right,
me in.
right.
The Wire, Friday Night Lights, stuff like that. The characters.
And talk about the Wire. Talk about the Wire, because I believe in the interview you did reference to that. But talk about the significance of the Wire.
I mean, The Wire for me was at a time where, Wallace, corner boy, but he was the heartbeat of season one. He was the heartbeat of that show. Everybody loved him. So when he died, it hurt everyone.
It hurt
David
all of
Simon,
us.
he knocked on the trailer door, but you never want to get that, that knock on the trailer because you know what I'm saying? When you get scripts, when you're on a show with nobody's safe, you always just try to skim through it to make sure your name's.
Why I died today.
Exactly. So Wallace was one of those characters that everybody watched. Everybody in Hollywood watched. All the right people, the casting directors, the producers, what I'm saying, the studio execs, so when the right people that are going to eventually see your name come across their desk, when it comes to different jobs and roles, it helps that they're a fan of certain things.
Right.
And Wallace was one of those characters that really did that for me. But my mentality behind it all was like, I want to play the roles that, Brad Pitt's one of my favorite actors. Leonardo DiCaprio's one of my favorite. Tom Hanks, Giovanni Ribisi, you know what I'm saying? Edward Norton, these are cats that I really enjoy. You, Will, Denzel, obviously, you know what I'm saying, the Mount Rushmore of actors. But I would hate seeing about being in an audition, for the role of the year.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's not one of the stereotypical, characters.
Yeah.
And you would see everybody from ages 40 down to 17 going out for this one role.
Right.
And then everybody's sitting in, the audition room looking at each other like, not afraid to speak. It's like this whole pitted tension. And my way around that was just like, look, man, I want to play roles that are people. Of course, me, with the skin that I have, the person that I am, stepping into that character, I'm going to make it inherently black. That's what it's going to be. So I told my agents and everybody, look, I want to go out for every role that's written for, like a Caucasian man. I want those roles, because when I take that role, I'm going to make it me,
Do you agree with Michael? Are you having these type of conversations with your agent?
Well, thankfully, as of now, I'm self-represented, so I don't have anybody who tries to have sway over what I can or cannot do.
Okay, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, all the projects I worked in, I got it myself,
Nice.
just marketing myself. So I feel like I could definitely agree what he's coming from in that regard. Not that I would want like a typical white role, like whatever you would label that as, but roles that are just not the standard thug for a black guy or DJ or rapper or like typical shit. I get what he's trying to say. He wants roles that are like challenging for him and out of bounds, like out of boundaries of what he would do. Like
Right, because I think you can. Right, I think you can like get pigeonholed, and you're gonna play the thug and the criminal all the time,
right.
and then it's like people just see you as that, and they're never gonna hire you for something else.
Exactly.
I think that's really cool that you don't have an agent. I didn't know that you could do that. I didn't know that you could. I thought you had to have some
Yeah,
guy like helping you, but I think that's
I
cool.
hear it. It's definitely harder. Don't get me wrong, because agents they help get you a lot of like high skill auditions and stuff like that. But you know, it's still possible with that one.
That's really cool. And do you feel like you've been able to play versatile roles so far, and you're not being pigeonholed?
Uh, so yeah, thankfully all the projects that I've been in have been pretty cool and all kind of different genres and within themselves. So I've got to really like I've got to experience what it means to be on set and really work on a character and really, you know, change my personality and change my thought process. And it's very fun, you know. I'm thankful this year.
That's cool. That's cool. And you're just gonna keep going. You're not gonna
Right.
stop now.
Yeah,
So that's
I'm
dope.
still very early in my career, so I'm just thankful and I'm just happy and excited for what's to come in the future, you know.
Yeah, same. The late actor Chadwick Boseman cited Denzel Washington as one of his role models, stating in his speech at the American Film Institute that honored Denzel with the Life Achievement Award back in 2019. Boseman said, "There's no Black Panther without Denzel Washington." I wanted to ask you, which Black or Latino actors, or actors in general, inspired you to want to become an actor?
Denzel would definitely be up there in that list for me. I've also been a huge Samuel L. Jackson fan for as long as I can remember.
Nice,
Like
nice.
I grew up watching, you know, a lot of Tarantino movies, just a lot of Samuel L. movies, and I think they really at the time when they were coming up, it was so hard for a black person, a black man especially, to make a mark in the industry, and they did,
Right.
and they kept pushing their boundaries. They kept doing better as time progressed, and they're still in the field today. So like,
Right, still making movies, still doing
right,
other things, and not just actors anymore. Now they're like producers and
right,
directors and stuff like that, helping other people come up. That's so
exactly,
true. It's probably way easier now to be black and to enter like the acting space. It's probably way
yeah,
easier because now you don't need, you can kind of build your own fan base or get your own name
right.
out there. So I think that's, yeah, that's very true.
Right. And although like the industry still has a long way to go, it definitely has changed a lot positively. And now people are from all different creeds, you know, races and religions are accepted now, or they should
Right,
be, but now it's more of an accepting industry. Like it's getting there, you know, like
right, right. Um, what are some projects of yours that you have been in that you're most proud of?
recently I got to work on set for HBO for a show called Betty, which is
Nice. Okay.
yeah. And I got that from my friend Sule, and it was just such a fun experience on set. And I
Is
was
that
just
like a
background.
comedy?
It's kind of like a drama. It has comedy and it's like a skate
Okay.
show.
Okay.
So
I gotta
it
check
has
that out.
both.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's a fire show, and you know, like the set was awesome. Everybody was young. You know, everybody was full of energy. There was a lot of artists there, skaters, models. So it was such a
Wow.
fun time. And I was just a background too with my boy Sule, and we were just having such a great time.
Wow. That's
But
so dope. HBO,
yeah,
that's big. That's big.
another project that I was really proud of was last month I went upstate to Syracuse to work in a project that should be coming out later this year or early next year. But
Nice. Nice.
that was one of those roles where I really had to think and I really had to push myself. So it
Right.
was very exciting for me because I
Are
really
you
felt like I was.
are you taking acting classes?
Oh, I recently graduated. Last May, I graduated in the midst of COVID from a film school called the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts.
Nice. I should have put that in your intro. That's so dope. That's so dope. How long were you in that?
It was a 2-year program, and but I joined when I had enrolled in the school. I kind of did like I didn't take any breaks basically, so I went straight through. So it was kind of like a year and a half when it should have been 2 years. I went straight
Wow.
through with no breaks, so it was a great experience for me, and that's really what trained me and like honed me as an actor. Because before that, I didn't really know as much about the film industry. All I
Okay.
knew was just like face value, surface value stuff. Like,
Right. That's so
right.
dope. That's so dope. In the future, would you ever direct or even start your own production company?
Oh, I'd love to. That's one goal of mine for sure. That's definitely what I want to do in the late future. I want to get more experience as an actor first, so when I do transition to directing, I'll just be on
Right,
point. You know, I'll be there. Like,
right,
but I
right.
definitely want to make my own content one day. I'd love to, you know, make my own show and cast whoever I wanted. You know.
Yeah, kind of like with like Charles Gambino, like with Atlanta.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
that's dope. That's dope. And I was gonna ask you, do you see yourself as leaning towards more like drama and more serious, or more like comedy, or do you think you like both and you want to do both?
I'm definitely both. I'm more like I could definitely in school I was better at comedy, but I'm more a drama type of guy. But
Okay.
I want to be the type of actor who I can play any type of role. You know, I want to be a versatile.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be down for anything as long as the script is good and my character has a good arc. Then I'm good.
Are there any actors you would love to work with one day?
Ooh, I would love to work with Robert De Niro. Joe Pesci or Al Pacino,
Wow.
any of those guys.
Legend, New York
they're legends.
legend. That's
And I'd love to work with Will Smith. I feel like he just
yes, that's a good
great
one.
energy. I'd love to work with I'd love to work with Quentin Tarantino. I'd love to have him direct me because he's just so serious and passionate about his craft that's a dream for every actor.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. Great choices. If you could be cast in any television shows right now, which one would it be as like the main character
Mm.
or one of the main
Mm.
characters?
Hey man. This ain't dropped yet, but I would love to be in the Game of Thrones prequels. Like I'm a big Thrones fan, so that'd be lit.
Wow.
I
Okay,
would love that.
that's
Um,
really dope.
Let me think. I wouldn't even. I would love to be in the Peaky Blinders too, bro. I don't even know how
Peaky
that
Blinders.
works
I
because
haven't seen. I haven't seen that or Game of Thrones. I gotta check those out. I heard
bro.
it's good.
Yeah, tune into Peaky Blinders first.
That's on
Cause
Netflix, right?
yeah. That's a
Okay,
great one.
I'm gonna check that one out.
Right,
And
such great acting.
why do you think, for Black, Latino, kids of color growing up, why does representation matter so much? In like your own words.
I mean, art for a lot of people and like film and TV and theater, whatever you want to call it, it's an outlet for so many people. It's just people like to see themselves in stories, and people like to see themselves as the hero. People like to see themselves as the protagonist of their own life. And
Right.
these stories kind of let you be that in that world, let you be in that universe, and kind of get away from whatever shitty reality we're living in presently. So it's always good to see somebody you can relate to in a show, and it just makes you more drawn to the show too. If you have a character who's more human that people can relate to, they're gonna be more drawn to that show and be more drawn to that character.
Right, right. And I think it's important to see yourself on screen. I've said it in
Hell
so
yeah.
many episodes. Like it's so important for like Black children, especially because if you only watch certain types of movies, it's like you think it's not like healthy. Like if
Right.
Black kids are watching like, these thug movies that we love,
Right.
they're gonna wanna like
See that?
do that. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Exactly.
it looks cool. That's what the world thinks I'm gonna do. So let me go do that. I think it's important that that Black children see multiple different types of like Black characters on screen, because I think it's very unhealthy or just like problematic to only see one type of Black person
Right.
perpetuated. Because I think it's gonna mess up Black children as they
Yeah.
grow
Yeah.
older.
It definitely is an influence. At least for me, it was, because I would like take a typical story, like let's say King Arthur, for example, like some shit like that.
Yeah.
I would think, why can't I be the king? Because you've seen every rendition of King Arthur, he's a white male because it was made by a white dude. And I would go on TV and see like a hood movie, and they'd be dope. And I'd be like, you know what? Is this like, if I'm gonna make my way in the industry, is this all I'll be able to do? Like that's what I thought back then, like
Right. Right. And I think that's again, we don't want to be pigeonholed, stereotypes,
right.
because stereotypes can lead to harmful things. Like I think that's why
Yeah.
Black men are so targeted. Black people in general are
Right.
so targeted by the police because of the images that are perpetuated.
Exactly.
So representation matters. That's
Yeah,
the title.
especially for acting, typecasting can like make or break your career, Like
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Of course.
This conversation is so important. You can follow Ahmad on Instagram at ahmad.damani. Ahmad, is there anything we should be looking out for coming from you? Is there anything you want to plug?
Man, I just want to say shout out to you for having me on your podcast. It's been such a great talk. You're awesome, and man, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm just excited for what you guys can see me do in the future.
Thank you. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and be sure to leave a rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you guys. Have a good one.
All right, thanks guys.